One that has a wild dog. Japan, I mean to China, probably chows and whatever, and probably Shiba Inus, and they mix them with the Taiwanese dogs. So that's why we have so many mixed breed Taiwanese dogs, or Formosans that are mixed with all sorts of breeds. And that happened with the Japanese breeding their dogs with the Taiwanese dogs. But I digress. Most Taiwanese people, Han Chinese that moved to Taiwan, that 2 million, were also forced to actually speak Japanese in school, and they couldn't even speak Taiwanese people here. They were not allowed to speak Taiwanese. They were taught Japanese, and even though Chinese was the main language of the island, with Taiwanese as well too. The Japanese also did bring some good stuff to Taiwan, in terms of infrastructure, building reservoirs and roads, and electrical systems and plumbing and aqueducts. Fast forward to the before World War II, the 1930s, China, or late 1920s, Japan and China went to war. Japan was trying to expand their reach, and
to this 6-part video lecture. Choosing not as into is very individual, compartmentalized, it's isolated. I can't get through to you and you can't get through to me. Around you and also to the spirit becomes one with this universal consciousness who engage.
Yo, what's up? Okay, I think we're okay now. Yo, the Magician King had to flex her a little bit, get things together. Oh man, what a day! It's election day, and I know you can hear me now. You have to be able to hear me because I say it. It is so. So let's talk about this Taiwan election, right? First of all, okay, let's do that.
Eric Prince predicts China will invade Taiwan in spring of 2024. He predicts China will attempt to invade Taiwan in spring of 2024, stating, I'd be surprised if they don't try something under the Biden administration because for them, it has to feel like the door is wide open for them to do whatever they want to do. Prince emphasized that the weather window for a potential invasion opens around May or June, adding, if they're going to take Taiwan by force, I would predict that they're going to do something this spring. He also criticized NATO, saying Trump was right to complain about NATO not paying their share and highlighting a need for Europe to increase its industrial base for defense supplies, warning they.
Okay. So, Valuetainment dude is saying that the CEO of BlackRock, who is flexing his magician kingship of being a man of tremendous status, being the head of a company that basically controls most of the companies that you and I do business with. And he rarely makes. I don't think he talks much. I've seen one of his interviews before, but so he's saying that he predicts that Taiwan will be invaded by China, who thinks they own Taiwan, in September. In the 2024 year of the dragon in May. I think the reason, well, two things. One of the reasons why he might be saying this is because he wants some attention, some clout for his whatever strategies he's got going on with his own business. And two, the reason that we have these dates in sometime in May, April is because Taiwan and China are separated by the Taiwan Strait, which can be very treacherous to cross, even though we're about 100 miles away from each other, from mainland China. Oh, by the way, this is the book of Gabriel Alexander Carbo, back at it again. District 13, it's election day. And whenever Taiwan's in the mainstream news, the consensus reality hallucination, we call the mainstream news, all the pundits come out and say it's going to be invaded, especially from the West. They're like pushing that war hawk military industrial complex because it's very lucrative to their businesses. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all the weapons companies there. So the reason why the pundits and this Blackwater CEO is pushing the invasion date of May, April is because this is when the weather in that area of the world on the Taiwan Strait is not very intense. It's more gentle than it normally is because in the off season, we have typhoons and strong currents that making an amphibious landing from mainland China to Taiwan just to get in the middle of the ocean is going to be treacherous, and they're going to lose a lot of ships and personnel. Even if they get onto the island, there's not very many nice beachheads where you can make an amphibious landing assault. It's not going to be like D-Day.
Um, the Taiwanese military's dug in at the spots, the bays where the ports where there could be some potential landing spots for China. However, and China probably would suffer tremendous casualties as with Taiwan. So this is why they say a couple times a year, May, April, and August it's when if there was an invasion, that's when it would happen because of the weather is not as treacherous.
They need to crank up that industrial base. Otherwise, they're going to find there's not the supply they need when they want it, when they need.
Now, this is the CEO of BlackRock talking, not Valuetainment dude here, but his tweet of the CEO of BlackRock
This spring. He also criticized NATO, saying Trump, I'd be surprised. Blackwater founder Eric Prince predicts China will invade Taiwan in spring of 2024. He predicts China will attempt to invade Taiwan in spring of 2024, stating, I'd be surprised if they don't try something under the Biden administration, because for them, it has to feel like the door is wide open for them to do whatever they want to do. Prince emphasized that the weather window for potential invasion opens around May or June. Adding, if they're going to take Taiwan by force, I would predict that they're going to do something this spring. He also criticized NATO.
It's April, actually, and August, 2 times. Year of the Dragon. Shout out to Kings. What's up, brother? Subscribe to King's channel and listen to the best forecaster out there on the markets. All the motivation you can stand. Probably you couldn't even stand that much motivation. The guy is crushing it. He has tremendous value. Kings and I, as allies, will bending reality to our will. And you can do it with us. Join our memberships. You ain't even ready, Mystery Ozo. Mystery Ozo, you ain't even ready, bro. Shout out to Mystery Ozo on the test stream channel. Having those mega trips, high doses. The killer from Camden and beyond. Out there just slaying it with his canine knowledge and new breeding programs that are revolutionizing the way we interact and raise dogs. Remember, dog spelled backward is God. Mystery Ozo, shout out. What up, God? And shout out to the kings and the men's of knowledge. Shadowback, math and science, brother. Math and science. As we do the math on God, you call it the simulation. We call it the universe. We use math and science. Math, observing the signs of life. Science. So we say math and science as a universal greeting here on the Book of Gabriel. Math and science. Use your critical thinking. So, Kings, what do you say? March. Comment from Kings. Interesting, since the markets can be chaos in March. The eyes of March is deadly. Super on point and linked up to the algorithm of the simulation. Yeah. I hear you, Mysterioso. Shout out to Shadowback. Book of Gabriel, you'll be mogging on the island. You'll be mogging on District 13, the semiconductor, the SC Secret Chiefs. Wherever I go, there's semiconductors. I was raised in the Machine City, Silicon Valley, San Jose, Bay Area. Semiconductor, the home of Steve Jobs and Apple and Hewlett Packard and all Google and all the other fun tools and technology you use. That's where I'm from. Before they even had those computer companies, we still do, underneath all the asphalt there in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. There's 3 levels deep of some of the most fertile topsoil on the earth. So many beautiful orchards out there. Shout out to the men of knowledge. Hit us up at the membership where we can build and do this math on God. Okay, let's see what this guy says.
NATO, saying Trump was right to complain about NATO not paying their share and highlighting a need for Europe to increase its industrial base for defense supplies, warning they need to crank up that industrial base, otherwise they're going to find there's not the supply they need when they want it, when they need it. Tom, do you think China will invade Taiwan in 2024?
Well,
Okay, so this guy's going to tell you if they're going to invade with all the safety deposit boxes behind them. I don't even been to Taiwan. I lived here for 7 years, 8 years, going on 8 years. It's my kingdom. I know a lot of I build with a lot of the current and ex-military. I've taught quite a few pilots and instructors as well as captains. I mean, so we're plugged in right here.
he's talking about a weather window, and what a weather window is when, you know, the ocean down there is more calmer, so you could have ground invasions. It's easier to get your ships around. So he's saying that there's like a weather window, and if you know your history, D-Day, they had to wait for cloud cover and fog to clear, and so there's always weather windows that are in there. So he's pointing out, hey, Biden's not doing anything about it. China has a weather window here, and perhaps the rest of the world will be distracted. And he's saying this is a window where, you know, China might do something and do whatever they want to do. And I think he has a point. I think he's out there like an outlier on this, but I think he has a point. The world is distracted. There's so many things going on. We're righteously distracted about Israel and Gaza conflict. We're righteously distracted about a complete interruption to global shipping that's gone on with the Houthis and the normal, you know, Suez Canal.
Yeah, I mean, we have the religious war proxy going on in Israel, and with that going on, it does play into our reality based of our consensus reality, how most of us have been programmed with that whole Armageddon battle of the Muslims versus Israel and Mog in Israel, right? I mean, that is serious. We don't want anyone to die ever, right? But it if Taiwan and China go to war, I mean, you're not going to get your semiconductors. We make the biggest and the baddest semiconductors in the world. We started it in Silicon Valley, my hometown, with semiconductor, many of the semiconductor companies, and we're ending it here in Taiwan. This is why it's so valuable. This is one of the main reasons why it hasn't been invaded yet. And a lot of this talk, these guys are just trying to trend and go viral, talking about the invasion of Taiwan. Who knows what'll happen? Except I know that with all my forecasting, it's not going to happen anytime soon. China has a long plan. It's the sleeping dragon. It waits to pounce, and plus, they're doing really shitty there right now. Check this shit out.
Season for pork consumption, but in China, pork prices have plummeted. Coupled with occasional outbreaks of African swine fever, pig farmers are incurring losses to the extent that they're left with nothing.
Oh heavens, I can't do this anymore. I won't do it. Every day I'm scared, worrying if the pigs are eating well, sleeping well, or getting sick. Look at these prices. It's been a year without a single happy moment. And now there's another epidemic among pigs. It's getting worse.
Yeah, man. First, the pig farmers are tripping, man. I mean, it's they say Rome was built off the backs of pigs that fed their army. First of all, as Asiatic people, and when I say Asiatic, I mean people of the world. The Earth is first name was Asia, right? The whole Earth, not just the continent right here, right? So we're Asiatics, everyone living here, and it wasn't until the European started to colorize people, put them in different categories, right? And we see how that's going, right? And here we go, Mysterioso. What's he talking about? So he said, Mysterioso's comment: who the Terrarians? Technology. So yeah, when you speak of technology, the Terrarians, well, we're about to do the build on them. Their whole society, their whole civilization is the real Atlantis, buried underneath all these cathedrals and beautiful structures and giants. There were the giants living among men. building trees out of, building spaceships, galactic spaceships out of trees, gigantic trees of life, like Devil's Mountain, like as Mystery Ozo and I spoke about on the Test Stream podcast, and his amazing trips where he's seen it all, like a zenith, like a 50, 60-inch zenith. He's seen it all, right? Let's see. Shout out to Hunter. Comment from Hunter. TSMC founder Morris Chang went to America to learn the science to build the TSMC U.S. win, Taiwan win, for sure. And this has always been a good relationship with Taiwan and in America. You don't hear it all the time, covertly. They're not going to just say it on the political scale because America has to save face, China has to save face. So they have this one China policy where, in order to do business with China, a nation has to um, recognize China as the real China and Taiwan as a renegade province, as they say. But everyone knows that Taiwan is a country. They have an army. They have the 13th largest army in the world. Like I said, I've trained some of their infantry and pilots in communication. Let's see, what's this say? See, in 1995, he turned down a job offer from Ford Motor Company and joined Salina Semiconductor, then known as a small semiconductor division of the Sarvani Electric Company, which is Hunter would know about this too because he was doing big things with TSMC. He was an OG on some James Bond action right there. Very high level of knowledge man right there who knows what he's talking about because he was here better than some of these other pundits.
The amount of fuel that's being, by the way, inflation is going to be up simply because of the Gaza conflict, because the shipping container ships are going all the way around South Africa.
I saw a chart of that.
So there's more cost to shipping there, and if you don't think that's like a quarter point inflation, you're not paying attention. It's more gas to get stuff from A to B that people are going to be buying. And so again, I think Eric has a point. Will it happen right then? I don't know. Or is he just trying, Pat, to put it out there and to make sure that the news cycle grabs it and that government is paying attention?
I don't know why he would do that. What would be the motive of doing something like that for him?
In the end times, I say there will be rumors of war, and that's all we hear nowadays in the consensus hallucination we call the mainstream media.
Him. I know what his business model is. I know how he makes money. I know what he's doing, but there's a part of it that, I have a bipolar opinion on this. Here's what my thoughts are on this. One, I believe on one end, China or whoever else it is sitting there saying, okay, what is Biden up to anyways? Like, when did he even say anything? Like, think about it. If there's one thing about Biden, you don't even know what the guy's up to right now.
He's on 30.
It's like, I know, it's like it's similar to a dog. When you don't know what a dog is thinking because he has his tail between his legs, because that's how they really express themselves, with their tail, right? Because it's like all on their nervous system. So if it's between their legs, you don't know what they're gonna do, and that's when a dog is most dangerous. And dogs get their cues from people. They're masters of human nature. So Biden is he's probably scared with his tail between his legs, and he doesn't even want to talk to people. While as President Trump was a deal maker, and love him or hate him, he literally would talk to people, right? So yeah, Hunter, yeah, we're secret friends. We're secret friends. Don't let people know it. Hunter, comment from Hunter. Just popped in. Might have to pop out soon. Saw your live and instantly clicked enjoy. Yeah, instantly join every time you see it. Join the membership too, and do this math on God. Find this knowledge of self. Keep doing your thing, big bro. You're inspiring me with your consistency. Much love, Hunter, who is a man of knowledge and part of the tribe. Shout out to Save Trap Keeper. I'll call you Trapper Keeper. Very interesting, yes. So is your name and your avatar. Good to have you. Let's see. Comment from Shift, aka Kings of Kings. Winning is contagious, hence the consistency. Consistency, yes, and you have to be consistent in life. Just like how I got up this morning at my usual time, 5:45. Went to the gym, killed it, crushed it. PR City, back. No, excuse me. I'm tripping already. I'm already ready for tomorrow. Shoulders, personal best, personal record. Arms, tricep, bicep workout. Intense set. One set for each exercise was all you need with the OMAD diet. One meal a day and you're good. Always getting gains. Consistency, just like Kings is consistently killing it with his destruction of the black pill, with his constant winning of how to be a real man of knowledge and a king that doesn't go into other people's frames, is building his own, he's bending reality. Check out his channel. And if you don't check out his channel, please don't be around me, because that's my brother from another. Trump, very good at portraying status. The masses can't get enough. Right, he portrays status as one of the best. Not as good as myself, however, he's getting there. He's getting there, right? He portrays status, and does he do what he says? No. Did President Obama? No. But men like these, they know how to portray their status.
Presidency, summer's vacation.
Weird.
So we don't know what he's up to. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Like, you don't even know if the guy is around. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if these guys want to capitalize, right now is the time to do it. Because if Xi sits there and says, okay, if we don't do it now and Trump gets elected, they're definitely not going to be able to do it under Trump.
Never.
So that means the next time they're going to be able to invade Taiwan is going to be what, Tom? 2029? Let's just say, right? 2029 is the...
If a certain...
They can invade Taiwan anytime they want. I mean, they can try. You can try to do a lot of things, but, I mean, is it going to happen? Probably not. Yeah. It's something to talk about. That's why you got to build your own frame. Have your own plan and execute it instead of, like, worrying about what's going on. You think people in Taiwan really care what these people have to say? No. They're living their life. I mean, if something happens, they'll deal with it, just like you'll deal with it, you know. And if you keep listening, you'll know how to deal with it in the correct manner, right and exact.
Person is elected, they ain't crossing that straight.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that certain person is Trump, if Trump gets elected till 2029. On the other side, there's a part of me that also is sitting there thinking that a Xi or China wants a Trump to be president. Because there's a part of it where, at least when you got a guy that you can talk to and communicate, you can at least know where they're at and get shit done. If you're not communicating with a Biden, you can't get nothing done.
I told you, foreshadowing that, using my Magician King to tell you, you need to talk to people, right? It's better to talk, even if it's an enemy. Sometimes, if the enemy has value, if interacting with them has value, if they don't, keep it moving. But it's better to talk and confront them instead of being like a weak bitch and hiding behind avatars and fake accounts and not sneak dissing people and not actually confronting them if you have a problem, if they're worthy of it. Because a lot of times, a lot of these people aren't even worthy of your enemy to be your enemies, because reaching down and playing in the mud with them, battling them in the mud will just get you dirty. So it's better to talk to people in general, though.
Okay, like, for example, when I'm doing business deals and I would much rather get a hold of an asshole than have a guy I'm negotiating with that I can never get a hold of the sweetheart. I don't know if that makes sense. So when you're negotiating with the guy, I'm like, okay, I already know that guy's an asshole. But guess what? He picks up the call. Okay? But the other guy, he acts like he's a sweetheart. I never trust him. Nothing comes out of his mouth, do I believe. He's shifty. He's dodgy. He's always getting others to talk to me. He doesn't want to talk to me himself.
Is he like, he's pretty smooth coming out and flowing? Is he talking about himself? Look at that look. Oh, he exposed me. He's talking about myself. He's shifty. He's dodgy. Yeah, I mean, if you're a leader, sales or just in life, or even a family member or a teacher, business leader, you should speak to your subordinates. You should speak to your tribe, which is your family. You know, and if someone that calls you and they're part of your team, you need to speak to them, right? You need to be there for them. Right? Let's see. HB Hunter, the comment: Taiwanese people are so numb to China's threats. Laugh aloud. Laugh my ass off. For sure, they just live their life, man. I mean, are you going to be scared of a country like this?
On the video work, crunchy fruit pieces awaiting the next rise in prices. In addition to the above reasons, the worsening economy and people's lack of disposable income
This is the real news in China I'm giving you.
also explain why demand for pork is increasingly sluggish in China, a major pork-consuming nation. An article titled "This Generation of Young People Snacking on Leftovers" appeared on the Chinese internet on August 13, 2022. It detailed how young people, in their quest for snack freedom, have been seeking out snack brand manufacturers, buying near-expiry foods, and recently gravitating toward leftover snacks.
Bro, the people, you hear that? You hear me, family chat? China, they're eating leftover snacks. They're buying leftover snacks. They're eating artificial food. It's not, the economy's not bad. They may have the most people in the military, but the quality is bad, bro. This is all Masonic sorcery theater. We coined the phrase, right? However, there is some things you need to pay attention to, so you're not caught off guard. Let's see, China. That's what China wants. Yeah, that China wants people to be afraid of them, and it's a way. It's a tactic. It's like North Korea style. Portray status like you're a big brute when in fact you have a lot of domestic turmoil going on, and a lot of times the threat of war, going to war with another country, is to hide the fact that your economy is shitty, and you have a lot of people don't like your party, your communist party.
Gen Z girl named Zitong is part of the young crowd seeking snack freedom. To achieve this, she often shops at near-expiry discount stores and has long added brand snack manufacturers to her favorites list.
Yeah, we have those in Taiwan, those old expired snack shops and drink shops. I stay away. That creeps me out, man. Only the best feel for me.
It wasn't until the end of 2021 that Zitong discovered many bloggers recommending leftover snacks on social platforms, with promotional slogans boldly claiming cheaper than manufacturers and no difference in quality and taste, which caught her attention. After trying products like broken pea joys, pieces of dried pork, crunchy fruit pieces, and vegetable scraps, and broken pecan kernels, Zitong fell in love with leftover snacks. Leftover snacks refer to the scraps left over from cutting and trimming during food production, like jerky bits, ham ends, and bread crusts. These are not used in regular products due to their irregular shapes, but their processing and quality are identical to regular products. One of Zitong's favorite snacks is pea joy. However, she couldn't afford the single indulgence, with each 48-gram box priced at 8.9 yuan. It wasn't until she discovered the existence of pea joy's broken leftover pieces that she found a way to achieve the freedom to enjoy pea joy at leisure.
You want to be conspicuous consumers and still have that lifestyle of trying to keep up with the Joneses, so you get the nice gourmet product, but you're getting like the broken pieces of the chocolate pretzel sticks, which, I mean, they do what you got to do. Economy's hard all over the place, and that's why these threats of war happen, to distract the masses from wanting to change the situation in a rational way. Let's just say, Mysterioso, what he has to say, his cryptic message: today's the oldest you have ever been, but also the youngest you've ever been. It's true, because all there is the now, right? we're in the now, which is the gift. Absolutely a gift. We use the past to make a mental model in order to propel us to the future, but we're always there's only now, right? Mysterioso comment from Mysterioso. Who put the alphabet in alphabetical order? Maybe you did, God. Mysterioso comment from Mysterioso. If a deaf person goes to court, is it still a hearing? I'll let you know when I go to court. In a couple weeks, somebody was suing me because they can't handle my swag. So you haven't made it till you've been sued, and then the judge throws it out because it's a bunch of bullshit, and they know you're a man of knowledge, and you don't need that petty shit. Comment from Mysterioso: does a straw have one or two holes? Oh, let's see. Tell me what you're drinking on right now. Sounds like it. You can tell me. One more comment. Mystery emoji. Back to this China and Taiwan fake invasion.
With you, I don't want to talk to you. Perfect example I'll give you out of a movie. Go to the movie Air. Okay, Air is about what? Michael Jordan, the shoe deal, all that stuff.
Nike.
Who's the asshole in the movie? In 3 days to get back to your client. In U.S., case study, Trump, Biden, how long does it take to get a hold of
I think Trump under 5 minutes. I think Biden, God knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, if you can return people's calls in a second, I mean, they're going to be looking up to you, right? Trump would probably pick up the phone call if you needed to talk to him if you're a world leader, quick. Biden, nah, man, he's too busy in his poopy pants.
40 plus 3.2 billion possible voters, 40 with okay? But when you're dealing with...
We got the Taiwan expert, allegedly.
Diplomacy and world affairs, a freaking minute is like, what do you, like...
Oh, wow.
How about that? How about that? Catch me outside. I have a say in this matter. Pat, you highlighted something very interesting.
Based on how good...
These guys know a lot about Taiwan, but they've never been there. We looked into it up until last week.
Of a negotiator Xi is. I think Xi wants to negotiate with somebody, and I don't think he negotiate with Biden.
I'm going to give you one thing.
Go ahead. Give it.
So we're talking about U.S. and China right here. We're talking about Biden, whether it's Trump, whether China attacks. But obviously there's a third party involved. Who's the third party? Taiwan.
Yeah.
It turns out they have a say in this matter. Pat, you highlighted something very interesting yesterday. You said, what percentage of the world is holding elections in 2024?
It was a bunch of them. 40
plus 3.2 billion possible voters, $44 trillion of the world economy.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. You know what? You know who's on that list? Taiwan.
Yes, they are.
Do you know when their election is being held?
Today. Right now. 11:44 a.m. January 13th, 2024, Gregorian calendar. It's happening right now on one unity. Everyone coming together on the Mayan calendar. Unity. The unity energy, the will of creation. Today's Taiwan's election. On 13, the sun. The sun. Will of creation. Honor your ancestors. Vote for the right person who you feel is right. But the elections right now. Let's hear about from the Taiwanese people, somewhat, what's going to happen with the election.
Will elect a new president, an election that China has called a choice between peace and war. Our Asia correspondent Rupert Wingfield-Hayes reports.
There was a time when statues of Chiang Kai-shek greeted you wherever you went on this island.
Chiang Kai-shek, the KMT leader who lost to Mao in the Chinese Civil War in 46, year of the rat, and came to Taiwan with all the occult knowledge and treasures, just to become a dictator and outlaw king.
Island. Today, the Generalissimo is a rare sight.
There he is, Scorpio, born on October 31st, Halloween. Shout out to Trapper Keeper. It's a war of meditations. Yeah, we'll get into that too. Taoist, Taiwan's religion is made up of Taoism, Buddhism and Chinese folk religion all in one.
Hundreds of his statues have been stashed away here at this riverside park south of Taipei. 94-year-old Fan Shenzhong isn't happy about what's being done to the legacy of his former leader. As a young soldier, Fan fled China with Chiang in 1949, but he has never stopped feeling Chinese.
Taiwan is a province. It is still a part of China.
Has called a choice between
Taiwan is a province.
See, this man right here was a soldier of Shanghai Shek when the government of China was the Republic of China, which China still refers to it as that. And Shanghai Shek was the Generalissimo, the president of Taiwan, and he was challenged by Mao, the communist, who was helped by the Russians and the American CIA, right? And when they lost in the 1949, the year of the rat, this man and many other mainland Chinese came to Taiwan, and a lot of locals, including family members here, had to give up their land to the warlord Shanghai Shek, who had martial law for 36 years up until 1996 when they had their first elections. So a lot of there was a lot of families in Taiwan, including my wife's and my family, that were in Taiwan for many years. I mean, not as long as the Aboriginal people here, but pretty damn long, right? And we had these new influx of immigrants from China in 1949 that caused a lot of chaos, that actually gave birth to the triads here in Taiwan. The new kids going to school that were from mainland China. They needed they were getting beat up and picked on for being new to Taiwan, so they formed gangs, and we have those gangs still here today. So Taiwan's kind of based on gangsterism. Their leader, the first president and dictator, was Chiang Kai-shek, was a warlord in China, basically. Right? And here's one of his ex-soldiers who still believe their party, that same party, KMT, Kuomintang, they still believe that they're the real China, and they want the old school people. They want unification with China, but they want Taiwan to be the ruling capital. Yeah, right.
It is still a part of China. Slowly, the differences between us will narrow until we are the same. Then we can achieve unification.
Chiang Kai-shek tried to turn Taiwan into a mini version of the China he'd left behind. People here were taught there was no such thing as being Taiwanese.
See that? He came from mainland China, and he told the Taiwanese people who were there for hundreds of years, to maybe thousands, because Taiwan's a combination of Aboriginal tribes, 15 Aboriginal tribes, Han Chinese, mainland Chinese, as well as Dutch influences and Japanese influences. So they couldn't speak Taiwanese. That's their language. They had to speak Mandarin.
This enormous memorial to Chiang Kai-shek still dominates the center of Taipei, but his project to turn Taiwanese people into citizens of China ultimately failed. Today, around 70% of people here say they are Taiwanese, not Chinese.
86-year-old John Chen is one of them. He spent 10 years in this prison for supporting Taiwan independence. In all, around 140,000 Taiwanese were locked up for opposing Chiang Kai-shek's rule.
Called the White Terror. If you spoke up against the leader of Taiwan, you were put in jail. Or let's hear about the election right now. That the people actually voting. I see him right now on my top floor.
Again, facing those questions. Who are they? And what relationship should they have with China? But today, no one, not even Chiang Kai-shek's old nationalist party, is campaigning for unification.
Nobody wants unification. Nobody wants
Yeah, I'm
unification.
Taiwanese, but my ancestors come from China. We have the same blood.
And what about unification?
I want us to be good friends. We can both make money together.
Taiwan is very different.
It's all about money for sure.
From China. It has dozens of political parties and noisy, energetic elections. People are free to choose who they are and how to live. And the vast majority
That
don't
wokeness, that's the only Asian country to legalize gay marriage, or the first one. Some of those people are poop socks are really proud of that. Let's see. And so who we got here? We got on the left William Lai, the doctor, ex-mayor from Tainan, the oldest city in Taiwan. I met him a couple times. He went to Harvard. He was a general practitioner, doctor. Like I said, mayor of the oldest city in Taiwan, vice president currently of Taiwan. He's part of the Democratic DPP party, very progressive, kind of like the Democrats. The current president, TAIWAN, a female president, she's keeps out of the spotlight, and she's, in terms of this Masonic sorcery theater, she's been doing a good job of not keeping the status quo, as they say, not having a war. A successful Taiwanese president is not having having a war, and still having some successes in terms of the economy, but it's not looking good. The young people can't buy houses. They don't want to serve in their military conscription, mandatory services, and they don't make any money barely. They can't even buy a car. Yes, the cost of living here is very cheap in terms of food and little things, but buying real estate and houses is out of the question for a lot of these young Taiwanese people. So they have no interest really of fighting for the country. The guy in the middle, he's an ex-police commissioner, right? In Taiwan, the police commissioner, the police and the gangsters pray to the same god. And like I said, it's a gangsterism island. He's the mayor of New Taipei City, and the guy in his party is KMT, the Shanghai Shek Party, who wanted unification. Like the old man wanted unification with China. However, he doesn't want it. He's being realistic. Even KMT, who traditionally wanted reunification, they don't want it because the majority of people don't want it. And then the guy on the right is Dr. Ke, who was also a medical doctor, who was the beloved mayor of Taipei. And he's basically a KMT guy, but he has his own independent party. And he cares more about domestic issues like nuclear power and infrastructure than international relations and stuff, geopolitical interests, which you need to focus at, because Taiwan's the heart of Asia. It's right in the middle. I can go to anywhere. It takes me 4 hours to get to any place in Asia. Right? Been to amazing trips. Going to go to Japan pretty soon. Have some adventures. Then a couple months after that, go to Bali, Maldives. So yeah, these are the guys running for president, right? And I think Mayor Lai on the left is leading, right? And if he becomes president, it's going to be I don't think China will look too favorable on it. One, his vice president, a woman who was actually born in America, Taiwanese American woman, is banned from China because of her views. And then Lai has a history of being very pro Taiwanese independence, right? But you got to, I mean, either you be a bitch and placate to China and they walk all over you and take everything you have, or you stand up. But you can stand up, but you don't have to be the aggressor, right? So yeah, take this down real quick. Let's see, but let's talk about we're talking about presidents and whatnot. However, all a president is a watered down version of the way we used to have kings. And one of the few kingdoms that I probably would have related to back in the day was the European king Frederick V of Prague, Czechoslovakia, who wanted to bring alchemy to his court and to his nation, his kingdom. Alchemy is the study of making lead into gold. Like literally, they tried to do that, but also metaphorically, by doing that, you see how the trials and tribulations and struggles you have, and that will actually, if you transmute it and gain knowledge of self, you can transmute it to the gold of enlightenment and bending reality to your will. And Frederick V of Prague was a magical king, literally a magical magician king, just like I and the other men of knowledge are. But he was doing it, and it was documented. And one of the luminaries, Terence McKenna, psychedelic luminaries, was obsessed with him, and even got to go to Prague and film a documentary about him before.
I used to do 10 months.
Shout out to NPC the Game. High level consciousness tabloid.
Behind me is the landscape of modern Prague, and it seems to me Prague is a city which participated in one of the most important bifurcations in the history of Western thought.
Terence McKenna going for it. Outlaw King on the black with the aviator shades, the beard, and the TWA mini fro. Yeah, he's giving his Magician King on. He's telling you about the King of Prague, the Magician King.
A little background may be necessary. The Emperor Rudolph II was chosen by the electors of the Northern League, and at his death they chose from among themselves a new emperor, in this case Frederick Prince Palatine of Heidelberg, who had recently married Elizabeth, the daughter of James of England.
Origin story about what's going on and with the Magician Kings of Prague. Magic is a real thing. Was, and it always is. Manipulating reality to your will.
Frederick the Elector assumed that the King of England giving his daughter's hand in marriage signaled approval for Frederick's visionary plan for an alchemical kingdom in Central Europe to be ruled by himself from Prague. And to this end, Frederick transferred his court from Heidelberg to Prague in the fall of 1619. This is a historical episode that has become known as the incident of the Winter King and Queen. Frederick the Elector Palatine of Bohemia and his queen, Elizabeth, ruled for nearly a year from Prague. And brought with them the alchemists of Heidelberg, personalities such as Michael Meyer, Johannes Andrei, and Heinrich Kunrath graced their court. But the alchemical fantasies of Frederick the Elector Palatine of Bohemia and his queen were destined to fail, for by the early spring of 1620...
Shout out to Mistrioso, a true Terence McKenna devotee.
A local bishop has raised an army and had been joined by Habsburg troops who laid siege to Prague. And that siege, after a number of weeks, succeeded. Among those taking part in the siege was a young French soldier who had been wenching and traveling across Europe in the style of the times, Rene Descartes.
I got you. We keep it moving though. We have little fun things that come up, but we still keep it moving. Thanks for telling me. And let's look at this. How we have, I was saying we have magician kings and queens in Taiwan. And it's going to play. It's going to play for me.
Welcome back to this 6-part video. After the
This is a great description about enlightenment in terms of what it looks like, a practical way of attaining it in real life in terms of the Taoist magic that was brought over with the Taiwanese Shanghai Shek and his crew.
you and me. First, let's assume neither one of us is psychic or have very severely underdeveloped psychic abilities. Your consciousness, your individuality is very individual, compartmentalized, it's isolated. I can't get through to you and you can't get through to me except through the power of words, the magic of words. You can begin to have an influence over me and I can have an influence over you when words and writing are exchanged. Otherwise, you're not really connected to like the rain or to the intangible concept of love or to the intangible concept of war or mercy or even to the animated spirit of a mountain or the spirit of a river.
That's what Taoism is all about, being connected with the way, the flow of nature. You can literally put your consciousness in a eagle flying over your head, or if you're really high level man of knowledge, into that person across the street at the bus stop. You lift their arm, they lift their arm, and vice versa.
The consciousness of the ocean. You and me, we're totally separate individuals. You and I are mutually exclusive in the sense that you cannot be both of us. You can only be you. Please tell me you're still with me. Now, let's say you're a little bit psychic and
We're here, Taiwanese American woman.
empathic, suddenly your individual consciousness can mix and tune in to the universal consciousness, to other spirited life around you. You still identify as you and me as totally separate individuals, but because you're a little bit psychic and empathic, you can maybe start to feel quite accurate.
If you can still be yourself, I mean, your identity, feel like you have the identity of yourself while experiencing other realities, that shows you that what you consider yourself is probably not even what you think it is. It's actually something else beyond that, right? And you're not a fixed point, but you're the process of a selfing. You're not a self, but you're a verb. You're the process of a selfing happening constantly in the now.
What it's like to be me, what I'm thinking, how I might behave, because you're somehow tuned in to my spirit. See, you're a spirit, I'm a spirit, a ghost is a spirit, a mountain is a spirit, fire is a spirit, a fox has a spirit. So there's this spirit encoded into everything. And if you're a little bit psychic and empathic, you can kind of start to intuit the consciousness of all of these spirits. That psychic empathic connection can be cultivated. There are practices that can strengthen your attunement to that universal consciousness. Now, let's.
And we do a lot of those practices. I do at the website. There's strength in numbers. We love to unpack our mythical narrative, finding knowledge of self through our writing, using writing, physical training, as well as creative movie making, in order to bust out of what you perceive as yourself and into what you're supposed to be, a mythical creature.
Enter the realm of psychic theory. In theory, telepathy is when I can send thoughts straight from my mind to yours, or vice versa. I can retrieve thoughts from your mind because in some way I'm connected to your mind. Telekinesis is when I can use my mind, my consciousness, to move physical objects around a room.
We actually do that with the little mouth noises we use, except we also use our hands as well doing it.
Because my consciousness is in some way connected to the universal consciousness that connects these objects to the physical world. Take it many steps further, and an awakening, whether you're talking about esoteric Buddhism or Taoism, is in theory this moment when your individual consciousness becomes one with that universal consciousness. Now, awakened, you can then flow in and out of anyone's consciousness wavelength. You can attune yourself to the physical world around you and also to the spirit, what we like to call the supernatural world around us. You can now be me and feel who I am, and you no longer see any distinction or individuality between you and me. You feel, truly, truly feel that you and I are one, are in union. This is also why in Buddhist religious doctrine there's that principle that you achieve awakening through practices of compassion, empathy, and agape love. This awakening into the collective consciousness can almost be described as an omnipotent telepathic and telekinetic power, except because you're so connected to the collective consciousness, you no longer have an individual ego. And so without an individual ego, you also have zero desire to use that power for personal gains. You're still with me, right? None of this is too hard to follow? A bodhisattva in Buddhism, then, under this theory, is a human being who cultivated a connection to that universal consciousness in such a way that they can have an impact on things of this world. Like a very magnified version of the theory of telekinesis and telepathy. Does that make sense? So, like the religious theory is you achieve a level of cultivation of your own consciousness that becomes one with the collective consciousness. So you can be in perfect sympathy with any individual entity of this world. You can put your mind and your powers into my body, no matter where I am in this earthly world, or where you are, and if you blink, I blink. If you raise your hand, I raise my hand. You can embody me. And since Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have achieved such an advanced level of cultivation, again, in theory, they also transcend their physical bodies and the laws of nature that would otherwise impact the human body. Your consciousness requires a physical body because you're not Buddha. So how we explain this is Buddha, after being awakened, his consciousness no longer requires a physical body. A Buddha is a personal human consciousness that loses individuality entirely and becomes one with the universal collective consciousness. They've returned to source in a manner of speaking, and so they also aren't affected by any laws of space-time. Again, religious theory. A bodhisattva is one step short of nirvana because the bodhisattva vows to not become total oneness with the universal consciousness.